Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today's Monday, November 10th, 2025, and we'll call this meeting order at 7:31 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Trustee Cahill is absent. Trustee Love?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we start our reports, the clerk has a bid opening. We're going to open some bids regarding our 2025 sanitary sewer cured in place piping project. So this is where we reline sanitary sewers throughout in different areas of the village.
So we have 4 bids that came in for this. The first one is from Performance Pipelining, Inc., located at 1551 West Norris Drive, Ottawa, Illinois, 61350. There is a bid bond in here. And their proposal is $393,190. So that is $393,190 even. The next one we have is from National Power Rodding, located at 2500 West Arthington Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60612. There is a bid bond. And definitely don't have the price in an easy place. Okay. So the amount for this one is $344,000 even, so 344,000.
Again, so the public understands too, we like doing bid openings at night like this for the transparency aspect of it then too. So this is a fair concept and everyone hears the same information at the same time, so we're not doing this during the day when nobody's around.
So our next one is from Vizu Sewer of Illinois, LLC, located at 9014 South Thomas Avenue, Bridgeview, Illinois, 60455. There is a bid bond. And their amount is $430,145. That's $430,145 even. And the last one we have is from Hare Construction, located at 1416 County Road 200 North, Goodfield, Illinois, 61742. And this one does have a bid bond. And their pricing is $422,675 even, 422,675. And those were the only bids that we received.
Very good, thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a committee meeting, so we're not voting on anything this evening, but this is information that the board is going to retain and will, for consideration at a future board meeting, be it next week or whenever. In most cases, it's next week when we have a board meeting. We meet twice a month for committee purposes and twice a month for board purposes to vote on what we talked about in committee. I want to go a little bit out of order. I always like to try to address parties that are in the room that are here to testify or offer information relevant to tonight's agenda. First this evening, I'd like to go out of order, and we'll start with the, because we're going to talk about some insurance and taxes and so forth yet too, but first is the planning and zoning and licenses. Trustee Murphy, can you do your report and introduce those folks?
Sure. I'm sorry, did you say planning and zoning, or you wanted to do insurance?
I want to start with planning and zoning.
Okay. Under planning and zoning, number one, we have the presentation of case number 2025-10-S-5004, special use for a LED double-sided billboard sign for property located at 5307 West 124th Street, Alsip, Illinois, 60803. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a hearing on October 22nd, 2025, with a vote of 6-0 in favor of.
So, Roger, can I ask you to get on a microphone so you can speak? Roger Early is our building commissioner. Is there someone here from Lamar Sign?
Yes.
Sir, come on up to the microphone here, please.
Also John, who's with the management team.
Okay. So, if you can, Roger, oh, sure, go ahead. And Roger, if you can give us an overview real quick of what's taking place here.
Chris from Lamar is looking to establish a new sign, a digital 48-foot LED sign along the property in which Mr. Shoemake owns. There was a static sign that previously was there. I want to say it came down in June. They took it down before getting the approval, which is why they're coming before you guys. Obviously, we have an ordinance in place. If the sign comes down, there is to be one removed from what is currently status. They are going to ask for the variance for that to allow the LED and also a new billboard. I will let Chris speak to it, and then possibly John from the management company.
Okay, so.
Yes,
Go
hi,
ahead,
Don.
Chris.
My name is Chris Lupo with Lamar Sign Company, located at 15255 South 94th Street, Avenue in Orland Park. So again, was an existing static billboard sign, 14 by 48 sign at the property, was owned and operated by Clear Channel Outdoor. They have since ended their relationship with the property owner and removed their sign from the property. The property owner contacted us to reinstall the sign onto their property just a little bit north of its existing location. The existing location was within the fenced-in area of the property. The location that we had chosen, and which was also seconded, or they're the ones actually would recommend, was the sign to be outside of their fenced-in area, because they have a tenant on property and they're leasing the property to that person, and not with an exception, which would be for the billboard sign. So when we were here earlier at the last meeting with the Planning and Zoning Department, there was a concern with regards to having the sign on the outside of the fence versus on the inside of the fence, because there's a possibility or, probability of someone maybe walking up to the sign and, coming up with a ladder and attaching it to the access ladder that we have on the sign, which is roughly 15, 20 feet in the air, or above grade. And so, if they brought a fence or another ladder, they could access the sign and climb up on top of it. Totally understood their concern. Brought that concern up with my operations manager to see if he had a concern about having a fence installed around the sign itself so that there would be no possibility. And he said, well, realistically, having fences around the property like that would create additional hardships, because a lot of people could dump their debris into that fenced-in area. There's also a collection of leaves in the fall that blow in there, and then you can't get them out. Also with snow, it's hard to remove the snow to access the sign when accessed. So his suggestion is something that we've done in the past in other markets as well, and it's this ladder Pro Shield.
So that you can't access the billboard?
Correct. It's a shield that goes across or over the access ladder, and it's not just a small little area. As you can see on the photo, it's probably about 10 feet high. So there's no way that somebody could access the sign in this way.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, what Mr. Lupo is saying is there's actually like a shield cover that goes over the ladder. So, like many things, you can't grab the rungs to climb up onto a billboard like this for safety purposes.
Correct.
Especially when you put an expensive LED sign on something like this yet, too.
Correct.
And I just want to make sure I've got this straight, too. So, for the record, when it comes to billboards adjacent to the 294 Expressway, tollway, you're asking that we need to amend our ordinance to create a new billboard designated to replace the former sign. Is currently our ordinance says once a billboard adjacent to the I-294 is removed, the ordinance automatically reduces itself, Roger?
That is correct.
And by one. So now we have to create an ordinance or amend our ordinance to create a new permit for this particular use, right?
Correct.
Okay. So this, trustees, that's what I want to get across to you, is the way the ordinance is designed, we have to obviously amend what we have to create a new one, at our discretion. That's what we're looking at here then, too. So right now, what do we allow, Raj, like 13 or 14?
13, I believe this, with the loss of the one and then the possibility we would be back to that same 13.
Gotcha. So the Plan Commission did approve this, 6 votes to none in favor of allowing this action to happen. Certainly, it's the final decision of this board to approve such, which is why Mr. Lupo and Lamar Sign is here asking. Am I saying that right, Mr. Lupo?
Absolutely.
Okay. Roger, from the building department or the building commissioner perspective, is the sign, is it compliant, sign-wise, size-wise, and all that kind of thing?
They would need a variance on the size of it. Obviously, it is larger than the 50 square feet, but it is a billboard. Other than that, no, the building department would have no objections with the billboard as long as they receive the proper paperwork from the state.
Okay. Trustees, did you have any questions for Mr. Lupo? This side? Yeah. All right. Chris, thank you very much then for coming out. I'll put this on an agenda next week for consideration for approval next week then, okay?
Next week? Is that Tuesday?
Monday night, same time.
Monday night.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Murphy, if you can do number 2 then.
Next, we have a presentation of case number 2025-10-SD-30,
Take off.
excuse me? Okay. 300 for a subdivision for the property located at 11300 LeClaire Avenue, Alsip, Illinois, 60803. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a hearing on October 22nd, 2025, with a vote of 4-2 in denial of.
So, do we have the petitioner here for that? The builder? Thank you, ma'am. Come on up. Just want to remind everybody, that's what that property kind of looks like. Roger, again, you were at the Plan Commission hearing. Can you give us an overview of what took place and why we're here?
The petitioner is looking to subdivide one current lot into three current lots, or three lots is what they proposed. Mr. Janik has previously built multiple homes in the village of Alsip. He's done a very nice job. Some of the residents did have some concerns with some drainage, and I believe that is one of the reasons why they voted no on it. The square footage does comply with all of our ordinances. The review was completed by the building department, and also Robinson Engineering did all of their full review on it, and it was passed on from the building department and also Robinson to the planning and zoning to look for approval.
Okay. So we didn't actually have a court reporter testimonial, but I read the minutes from the meeting, and one of the commissioners made a motion to deny. One thing I want to get across to real quick was you were handicapped a little bit at the Plan Commission because what Commissioner Early just distributed, ladies and gentlemen, was a site plan that was given to the village that was not at your meeting, at your hearing, which I apologize for that not happening. We found out later that we've got a big plan room back here. We've been blessed to have a lot of development here. One of the fire prevention folks came in to pick up plans, and unfortunately picked up too many, and yours was in there, so I apologize. You folks are handicapped at a meeting that the Plan Commission wasn't able to see like a good drawing like that, and that really does speak volumes to, you've got your square footage, you've got a layout for three homes. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you understand what we're talking about, the intended site that they're looking at here is the corner of 1300 South LeClaire, which is kind of like a three-way intersection. There's Avon Street that runs through there, LeClaire Street, and 113th Street all come together at this particular corner. So it's one big corner lot. There's a home that's sitting on there right now that is an older home. Is that in foreclosure too, ma'am? Did you buy that out of foreclosure?
Yes. It was
Okay,
foreclosed.
so it was a home.
Yes.
Okay, so it was foreclosed on,
Yes.
that particular house, okay. And certainly we understand, from what I was told, the concerns of the residents that came out from the area. What our minutes said was that a motion to deny was made, stating that three homes on the property was not consistent with the general lot sizes of the majority homes in the area, and the residents were concerned about new homes possibly flooding their properties, which was why a motion was made to deny. Now, I just want to make sure, too, Roger, is this the reason for the request Is it because they need a special use permit to build these 3 houses, or what are we approving? In other words, it's a residential neighborhood, and the lot can't be subdivided. We do these all the time.
What they're looking for is a subdivision from 1 lot to 3 lots.
Right, because typically, these are rare that you get one that you can get 3 homes on. Typically, we'll do 2, because most lots are square, but we don't have a big corner lot like this and stuff yet then, too.
And there's ample space for it, as it's depicted on the plot of survey or plot of subdivision.
So I read the plans of the site survey right before the meeting. 2 of the lots are roughly 7,100 square feet.
71, or we could, it could be divided a little bit different. It could go 8, a little bit over 8 on 2 and 10 on 1.
Okay.
Or 7 on each and 12.
Okay, so right now, two of the lots are roughly 7,100 square feet. The other lot is about 12,000 square feet. And as you said, I'm sorry, ma'am, can I get your name, please?
Anna.
Anna? As Anna is saying is, it will be possible, which I think is a great idea, if you could push 7,100 to 8,000 square feet, that'd be great.
Yes,
And
that's
take a little something away from the 12,000 square foot. It may make these yards look a little closer to the big lots that we have. You know, I can speak for myself, I don't live too far from there, but everything west, most of the lots west of Cicero Avenue are pretty deep lots, and you folks have been fortunate to build on a lot of those, too. I know I've got a smaller home on like a half acre. It's like 100 wide by 200 feet deep and stuff done, too. So typically, they've taken those, broke them in half to have a 50 by 200 lot and so forth. But now this is a little bit different, so.
Address the concerns about the flooding and all that. Actually, if we divide it, if we do the 8,000 and 10,000, whatever it would be, the lot coverage, including house, the footprint, the driveway, the walkways, would be about 30%, 35%, between 25 and 35, depends on which lot.
Of what the house would be.
It would be the coverage, lot coverage. So
Okay.
70% of the lot is still open.
70% of the lot would still be open land.
In space,
Right,
yes.
right. And ballpark, how much square footage on the homes that are going up?
2,800.
2,800, that's great. That's a nice-sized house and stuff, yeah, too. I know, and I appreciate your investment that you folks have done thus far in our community. There's a few builders here. You told me, Raj, the other day when we were working on the garbage contract, we've had over 22 new homes in the past 4 years here, right?
22 and growing.
Right. So, members of the board, what's going to be asked of you is to, first off, and we'll hear from the public too if there's any comments on these as well too, but what's going to be asked is, would the board agree with what the builder is asking to do, is subdivide these lots with having 2 lots at, I'm just ballparking this at 8,000 square feet each, and the larger lot at about 10,000 square foot, and to build 3 homes on that lot. Certainly, the village would have to do its due diligence, as you said, to have our engineers make sure there's no flooding going to take place. There are storm sewers, our water commissioner is here, Andy, there is storm sewer on Avon Street, right?
It's a combination of the storm.
Okay,
The south side.
okay. Can these homes be tied in to that, or is there anything special that needs to be done to accommodate?
Yeah, it could be done, but it would be incorporating all 3 if we.
But it has to be done, because if we're going to allow it, we have to make sure no flooding takes place on those lots. Right. Or be the cause of somebody else assuming any kind of water and stuff yet then, too. All right. Is there anything else you want to say,
One
too?
more thing, if I can go back to lot sizes. I did a little study on Alsip. So between 115 and 121st, Lockwood and Lamont in that square, there is 65% of the properties are less than 9,000 square feet.
Okay.
Then another section between 115 and 119, Cicero and Pulaski on the other side, 90% of the lots are less than 9,000.
I know east of Cicero is, but yeah, west always had just bigger,
And,
it's a
this-
different area.
and between 111 and 115, between Laramie and Lamont, Laramie, Avon, however it's called. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I think this one is 30% under 9,000 square feet.
Okay. Chief, could you fix that for me, please? Thanks. Very good. Thank you, Anna. Trustees, did you have any questions for Anna?
Not at this time, Mayor, but I think, like you've already brought up, I think we would have to view it potentially with that smaller lot resized and taking a look at how it would come out, because at this point in time, I'm even looking at the drawings, which we didn't have before tonight, it just doesn't feel right, especially in that neighborhood. You have that third lot.
I have proposed, we have the one showing 8,000.
Oh, you got one. Thank you. Okay. It's the same one.
Oh, yeah, this is one.
Okay, so what this is, I appreciate that. So two of these lots are roughly 8,100 square feet, with the larger lot being about 10,100 square feet. And if, for the public, if you can see this for sure, that's kind of what we're talking about here, is that's how that lot is shaped, just so everybody understands what that looks like. So you've got two homes that are, you got one home that's facing Avon Avenue, and the other two are facing LeClaire Avenue. That's on here then too, right? Okay. So that's what that kind of looks like. So thank you for doing that. Obviously, you just answered a question, so trustee's question, I should say. And what I shared with the board, as you were passing yours out, I was looking at an overhead view that's available on just Google Maps, and it just showed a couple of homes that are about a block away from here that were built. I'm not sure if your company did these at all, but I know they're all a little bit similar in style. And there's two new ones that just went up on 113th and Lawler, and I showed an overhead view, like a Google shot, of what the neighborhood looks like right there. I shared with the board. So yeah, there are some homes that are on corner lots and so forth. This one's shaped a little bit different, but it makes the same point of what's going to take place here then too. You know what, though, and I certainly, this is a committee meeting, and we'd certainly allow any comments from the public as well, too. If anybody in the public wanted to comment on this, we'd allow 3 minutes for comment. Sure, come on up, sir. Go ahead, Don, you can go right up to the microphone.
Good evening. My name's Don Jones. I live at 11335 South Avon. My house is across the street from this property. My garage and driveway face the property that is in question. That property has been like that since I've been there. I've been there 25 years. And was proud of when I did move into this property was that the lots were the size of the lots. You had space in your houses. Now, since I've been there, I've watched 5 houses get torn down, and now there's 10 houses where there used to be 5. So now we have this piece of property across the street from me. You want to put 3 houses there. I can't see it. I mean, I don't see these designs. I cannot see those. Putting 3 houses in there is just, to me, that's crowding. One story I have to tell you is the reason why my house is still standing is because the village board refused to let a developer build 2 houses on the property. He wanted to keep the corner open of brick and mortar. Now this house, from what I can tell, is going to be close to the corner, which means you're not going to have an open property. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
That's all right.
But I just can't see it. 3 houses into that property. What is so wrong with just building 1 house and having a nice big piece of property? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Karen Wacklewick, 11115 South LeClaire. I grew up out here. I've lived out here my whole life. I knew the people who own that home. I mean, besides it flooding all the time, I get concerned about when they do fill it in, I'm at the bottom of the street. I'm closer to 111th, and that's going to roll downhill. I see it already flooding on LeClaire because of, years ago when Alsip put in the sewers and that, a lot of the culverts were covered up. So where does the water go? Goes on the street and into my front yard. The other question I have too is, it is 3 streets. You have LeClaire, you have Avon. That view is always obstructed. We have a stop sign, but Avon doesn't. You cannot see around those bushes. And so I'm wondering if you put a home up there, isn't that going to get worse?
I think, Roger, it's going to still have to observe a 25-foot setback, right?
It would still have to observe the 25-foot.
Yeah, so you're going to have 25 feet of clearance to the front of that.
So if there's any fences or anything put up too?
You can't
You
do a
wouldn't
fence.
be able to put up a fence.
Okay, that's
Other
what I
than
wanted
3
to double
foot.
check.
Yeah, and it can't go beyond the face of the house. It's got to stay behind the house.
Right, just wanted to double check.
Yeah. No, Karen, that's a great point to make. One thing we're looking at right now, too, and it's always a budgetary thing, and I did, the public work superintendent's not here tonight, but I'm looking at that neighborhood right now, because more and more of these newer homes are going up, like you said, like 111th and Leamington is on my list right now. We just had about 4 or 5 new homes get built on that block, and to start with, the street wasn't really wide to begin with, but then I found residents were filling in their culverts in front, like their drainage ditches in front of their house, which prohibits water from getting down the street like it's supposed to. I've got one in front of my house, and it's there for a reason. There's a sewer there and everything else, yeah. But they were filling them in because they didn't like the dip in the front of the yard, is what I was told. It was before my time, but we're addressing that now. So what I'm going to be proposing to the board, possibly, we might have to do one block after the next, because these get pretty pricey yet, too, but is introducing storm drains over in those neighborhoods, because it's an old neighborhood, and you originally had culverts like that, like ditches in front of the house, and it was supposed to, like you said, flow, like, let's say it was a high in the middle of the block, it was supposed to go both directions. Well, it's not really doing it, because everybody filled them in. So now, either we heavy-hand everybody, and we show up with a grade all, and dig those things back out again, or we introduce a storm drain, which could be $1 million per block, to try and put a storm drain in down the street.
Well, when we redid our driveway, we were required to get a culvert
Yeah.
pipe put in, but yet I don't see that being enforced.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You get a new administration, you might have an older building commissioner at the time, and it's too late to point fingers, but we have to fix what's wrong. I saw those blocks starting to retain water, so we're looking at that right now.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I thank you for your time.
Sure, absolutely. Anybody else? Trustees, did you have any questions for the builder on this yet, too? Okay.
Not really a question, but I do have a comment,
Sure.
Mayor. Just looking at Google Maps, there really is a drainage issue at that property. In April of '25, that whole yard is flooded.
And certainly the builder understands he's going to have to address that to actually fix that.
Taking away more of that green space is just going to add more drainage issues. And they've got to take care of that somehow, some way. Because we're taking away some of that area that the water's going to be able to soak into.
Oh, sure. And again, the homes are what they are. The size-wise, they're uniform with the other ones that have been going up. Style-wise and so forth, they're size-wise. But I think more of the thing is, if the builder understands, you folks are going to be responsible for proper drainage over there and stuff then too. And nothing gets built until our engineer approves all that and stuff then as well. So let me get some confirmation. Sir, if you want to say something, go ahead. I'll give you 3 minutes. Sure.
I'm Jim Wackle with 11115 LeClaire. Just for the record, we talked about there being storm sewers on Avon.
Mhm.
Is that correct? And just for the record, there are no storm sewers on LeClaire.
There looks like there's a little tie-in, but not going to the north very far, so.
Okay. I just wanted to put that on the record that LeClaire if you address the drainage on this, I could see it easily being taken care of on the Avon side.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a headache on my side.
Yeah, no,
That's what I'm worried about because I'm at the north end, so I'll be receiving all that drainage.
yeah.
And without a storm sewer, I'm kind of concerned.
Absolutely, no, and that's what we're going to identify is, and before anything gets approved, we're going to make sure that we've got proper drainage. That's one thing, I've been here 8 years, and that's the one thing I've learned a lot about is water retention. You throw up a big building on something where it used to be just for prairie, and it's like, you ask yourself, where's all that water going to go? And I've seen folks throw in some serious water retention over the years. I know even like over here at 125th and Cicero a couple of years ago, he probably spent a good $3.5 million. And the first time ever that properties had water underground, it looked like solar panels underground. They had to go down so far. But yeah, I agree with you, sir. We have to have proper water. We have to distribute the water correctly. And yeah, we can't overwhelm your home and stuff too. So I'll definitely have engineering look at that before anything gets built. Let's put it that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Trustees, any questions for the builder or anybody at this time?
Let me just ask, are you set completely on this has to be 3 properties, or would you be willing to go to 2?
That was the reason we purchased the property, to divide it into two, because it complies with all the, lab requirements for zoning ordinance and everything, so we were under impression and divided it.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thanks for coming out then, too, folks. And certainly, that's why I wanted to bring you up first. And again, I want to ask everybody to be kind of patient with us. If you have to be somewhere else, we understand. But we're going to talk about some insurance issues and some taxation. But feel free, if you want to leave, you're not insulting us. Any you folks want to leave, that's up to you and stuff, and too. Thank you. We'll put this up for. I'm going to talk with our engineers this week. And I'll let everybody know, but I'll have somebody reach back out to you and see if we put this up for consideration next week or at the board meeting after. But I want to talk to the engineers real quick about this first, okay? Thank you.
But if they're proposing a second set, isn't it more proper this to go back to planning and zoning?
Right, because this is a revision from what planning and zoning heard.
This is a revision, and you know what, trustee, you may be right about that. Let me speak with our attorney tomorrow morning about that, if that can be revisited. This way, for reconsideration with the new square footage, maybe it's more palatable with everybody. It always helps us, too, because if we were to overturn that decision, we need a majority of the corporate authority, so you need about 5 votes as opposed to a simple majority. So let me see if that can be done first, okay? Okay. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to discuss our insurance. Let's see, this would be Human Resources Insurance. Again, Trustee Murphy. We can talk about health care and then property and casualty after that.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation by Human Resources Manager Anthony Fasano regarding the renewal of the village's property and casualty health, dental, vision insurance. And I believe we have Renee Formel from
Correct.
Hello,
Renee
Renee.
will be presenting tonight.
from Alliant.
Good evening.
Yeah, you got to get right to you, Renee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the presentation that was shared with you on Friday, but I'll walk through a high-level summary. This is the insurance program renewal for the village. For full-time employees, the medical program is receiving an overall 7.6% change in funding. The dental program, a 1.4% change. The retiree supplemental program, 9.5%. Vision, life insurance, and short-term disability, no change in rates. When we get back up to the medical program, I'd like to point out that there are 2 components of your cost. There are fixed costs that you pay for third-party administration and for insurance protection, and then you also have a claim component. You are self-funded, so you pay your claims back to Blue Cross Blue Shield. You pay claims on each plan member up to $70,000 per policy year. So when we look at what constituted your renewal, from a fixed standpoint, we had a 34.8% change in your fixed costs. And this was mainly driven by the specific stop-loss policy. We have a very hardened stop-loss marketplace, and you did have
claims in excess of your stop loss totaling around $500,000. To give you an idea, your projected claim spend for the year is approximately $3 million, and that will cover 300 plan members. We had 20 plan members incurring half of that claim spend. So you're seeing an increase on the stop loss insurance, nominal change on third-party administration from Blue Cross Blue Shield of 3.5%, an adjustment on your prescription drug rebates, and so that is a totaling of your fixed expense. Where you've really done well this year is on your claim spend. So again, you're self-funded, and you pay Blue Cross Blue Shield back for those claims. Your projection on claims have actually decreased for the year of 2026 by 4.3%. And this is really the beauty of being self-funded. You act as the plan. Blue Cross Blue Shield is your plan administrator, but ultimately you pay them back for the claims that were incurred by your membership. So in the moments where your claims go down, you have that enjoyment of seeing the claims go down real time, and then projections for the next year can sidestep trend. And in the healthcare insurance world, one of our biggest issues right now is that trend for medical claims is 9.3%, for prescription drug almost 14%, meaning the inflation in our world, if everything's done the same way next year, you're seeing that type of inflation. So when you see that your claims are going down in a projection by 4.3%, that is because you've been running in a decreased position the last 12 months. And so they can project you forward and still be in a decreased position. On dental, much more simplistic. From an administration standpoint, there is no change in administration. You do not have stop loss, and your claims also enjoyed a decrease. So you're seeing a very small change, 1.4% overall in plan funding. From a plan design standpoint, the renewal offer is to keep all of your current programs. Biosimilar drugs are new on the marketplace, and they will be covered by your program for medical. That's going to help offset some of that specialty high-cost drug expenses that we're seeing. Your high deductible health plan has a $100 adjustment in the deductible, and it's just to follow IRS regulations. Government regulates the minimum deductible levels in order to have a high deductible plan. So we're seeing that mandatory change. But otherwise, there are no changes to the program.
Okay. So, Renee, I'm sorry, my computer screen is real touchy here as I'm looking at these costs, but last year, I know our projected spending was going to, because again, what Ms. Formel is saying is the Village of Alsip is self-insured when it comes to insurance. So we're paying the first $70,000 of every claim that comes through. We've got 300 participants, is what you're saying on that. And basically, last year we spent we had an expected spend of what, like 4.2 million, something like that. So it's going to go up by 7.6% now.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the increase again on the vision and dental?
1.4% on the dental, no change on the vision, 0%.
Okay, so no change on those. And the last few years, we've been experiencing maybe an 8 to almost 10% increase every year in healthcare. And healthcare increases. This is a 7.6%. So as you said, our claims are down. We're doing a little bit better. But what you're actually informing us of when we talk about a spend, we're anticipating how much we're going to spend. This isn't in concrete. It could be less than that. But,
exactly.
And also could be more.
But based on trend,
Yes.
yeah. This is it's all you can do is
projection based on your claims.
Right.
So again, it's to set a budget, and each year you will run either at a surplus or a deficit. And that's the long-term arrangement, so you should keep track of your surplus to help with deficit years. But essentially, the underwriter's saying, based on your claims and based on real-time how you're trending, this is what should budget to cover the projected claims. But they're exactly that. And as you have plan members come and go off the program, really the main driver of good and bad claim years are those plan members that come in and have large claims. It's not just the overall utilization, but it's people that are coming in and having, for example, $25,000 or more in paid claims. They're a large claimant. And that type of population, up to could be $1 million claimant, is what really shapes your overall claims going up and down And then it also impacts that stop-loss premium that you pay for each year, because Blue Cross Blue Shield is taking over on the claims when they exceed $70,000. So like a homeowner's policy or any other policy, think of it as hitting on that deductible. Every time someone exceeds that, those are dollars that the insurance carrier are taking over on your behalf, and then they will adjust the premiums based on the loss ratios.
Okay. Trustees, any questions for Ms. Formel? Renee, I'm just making a quick note here, too. You said it was just 1.38% was the increase on the dental and none on vision, right?
1.4 on the dental.
1.4, okay. Very good. And this, again, this is effective when, January 1?
This is January 1st.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Fromell, did you have any hard copies of that with you that you can share with the board? I know we got them digitally, but do we have any other hard copies with?
We do not, but I can send some over.
Can you get me some, please, right away? Thank you very much. I know, like I said, sometimes scrolling through here,
Yeah, absolutely.
it can be a little challenging
Create
once in a
some
while
an
and stuff, yeah,
overnight.
too. I appreciate it, yeah. HR Manager Tony Fasano. Tony, did you have any comments on this as well, too?
From my standpoint, I think we had a great year with the percentage, considering what I've seen in other municipalities. So I think we're doing pretty well for this past year.
Renee, I appreciate you came in and talked with the insurance committee recently with all of our unions. How did that go? Any kind of recommendations that we can look at or discuss right now, or can you send me back something? I was out of town last week. I wasn't privy to it and stuff yet, too.
I mean, that was more of an informational meeting, I believe. We
Okay.
did talk through stop-loss levels, so you agree to claims up to $70,000. We always quote for you leveraging that, where you would take on an additional liability, $80,000 or $90,000. Obviously, when you do that, it reduces the fixed premiums that you're going to pay to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Sure.
But then on the flip side, it increases your claim liability.
Right.
So
We have
the-
more exposure.
Right. So I think we did talk about that type of alternative, because that's one of the levers that you could look at, and I think there was a consensus that doing that to reduce the overall program cost by less than a percentage point or almost 2 points, depending on which option, you take on that additional liability, which could then drive your claims, to create larger increases. So that was something that we took a look at. I don't know, Tony, if there was anything else.
No.
Okay. Trustees, any questions for Ms. Formel? None? Renee, thanks for coming out tonight and stuff then, too, okay? And, yeah, if you would, please just get me some hard copies for our records then, too. All right. Thank you. Next, we had the property and casualty as well. Tony Evans is here from Horton Insurance as well. Tony? Again, I appreciate everybody's patience. This is something that these are some, next to when we start some of our reports, these are some of our biggest expenditures, so we appreciate your patience listening to these renewals that we look at annually. And this is on property and casualty for the village. Go ahead, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe use that desktop one is easier. Yeah.
There's that better? Yes,
Yes.
it is. Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me here this evening. I've worked with this village for many years, and again, we recommend a renewal with ICRMT. Hopefully, did everyone get my PowerPoint presentation? Yes. Okay. I'll go through this briefly. But first and foremost, in terms of a comparison between what we're doing and what your health program does, you have far lower deductibles with any one claim. I mean, that's what, $70,000, and we're talking claim deductibles of $2,500 or along those lines. So my job as your broker is to do two things. One is to protect this village balance sheet for against loss, as well as find the most competitive, best coverage out and available in the insurance marketplace. One change I did want to make sure that you're aware of is that Since 1973, Horton's been in Orland Park, and we were purchased last year by Marsh. It's called Marsh MMA, and we now have about 300 area public entity accounts within the, I guess you could call it, the Cook County and surrounding areas. So lots of what we call market leverage, which does benefit the Village of Alsip. Okay, so what's going on in the insurance marketplace on the property casualty side? There's a couple of key things. The property market is impacted by inflation, cost of materials, and certainly labor. So if a building has to be rebuilt after a total loss, you think about what the expenses would be for that. So there are rate increases as a result of that. Law enforcement legal liability throughout this county and the country, for that matter, the number of civil rights violation cases are skyrocketing. Along those same lines, you have auto liability. You think about the police chases or any sort of pursuit policies. Those all come into play with auto liability. Excess liability. 10 years ago, there were probably 20 carriers that are willing to write in Cook County. Now there's probably 5 that are able to do that. So it's not it's just a smaller and smaller pool. I can tell you that ICRMT, which stands for Illinois County Risk Management Trust, has about 500 public entity accounts throughout Illinois, and that could be city, schools, sewer districts, counties, etc. Okay, let's talk about your specific renewal. So I did provide a page just giving about 5 or 6 basic renewal exposures that have changed year over year. You have your village revenue increasing from $64 million to $65 million. The property and equipment, there's a 2% inflation factor based on those the labor and cost of materials, et cetera. That is certainly fair. So your total insured values increased about $5 million. The equipment that the village owns, the replacement cost of that increased from $885,000 to just over $1 million. Vehicle count went from 92 to 96. Full-time police went from 42 to 44. And the number of employees increased from 133 to 143. So that's an increase of 8% on the number of employees. So those are the basic things that ICRMT uses to develop your premium from an underwriting standpoint. One of the main things that we talk about every year is the Heritage Apartments. And I just want to explain to you what a good deal this village has with that. Something I did not mention in the exposure base is square footage, which is a very common exposure base for commercial insurance. You have 512 remodeled units within Heritage, and you have the coverage, but you're not paying a premium to insure those apartments. It's all included elsewhere within the village. Now, I will say that the property values for those Heritage Apartments represents about 70% of your values within the village. So there is a heavy property premium on those, but there is essentially no premium that you're paying for the liability you're facing on just operation of those apartments. Okay, so year over year, the expiring premium with this program is $866,000. We did go out to market, and ICRMT came in at the best program, and it's absolutely the best structure, and the year-over-year difference is an increase of 2.7%. So all in all, compared to a lot of public entity accounts that I have, most are seeing increases anywhere between 8 and 15%. This is the lowest one that I've had this year.
That's great to hear.
Good. Very good. Any questions for me?
So, Tony, what is the new premium on that, too?
Sorry. One of the policies is outside of ICRMT, which is your cyber liability.
Right.
But it's a total of $890,000, $204,000.
Okay. And that's up from 866 that we used to be at.
866, 615.
Okay. That's great news. It's just a 2% increase, 2.7 is what you said.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, like anything else, between, as I mentioned earlier, between having investment here in homes and even our health care has gone down a little bit with the reduction in claims. As you said, the same difference here when it comes to property and casualty and stuff, and too. Sometimes these can really get crazy, but we're having a great season. Again, what's your trend on these? Like 3 years or 5 years on these yet too?
That we look at the losses,
Yeah.
and we usually look at the last, that's getting longer, but it's anywhere between 5 and 8 years.
Okay.
And if there's a large claim on that, say for $5 million, they'll look back even further to make sure that that was not something that happens every couple of years.
Understood. Again, I've been here 8.5 years now, but I understand the language better and better every year and stuff on too. So.
Exciting world of insurance.
Well, I mean, it's something you got to have, too.
Yeah,
So.
I know. I will say, and I talked about this with Tony, the 4 or 5 largest claims that I've had this year with public entity has more to do with cyber. It's cyber crime. It's these bogus invoices that people get emails or some sort of invoice, and they don't call up to make sure that it's legitimate. And I have a client that, without double-checking that it was legit, paid $761,000.
That's amazing. We have a very strong IT department here, and I love our guys.
Yeah, I know you do, but keep at it,
Yeah.
because insurance is part of the solution. Just make sure that you're communicating and going through best practices to manage those expenses.
Appreciate that.
Payments.
Trustees, any questions for Mr. Evans? No? Tony, thank you very much for being out here with us tonight yet, too. And again, what's the renewal date on that then, Tony?
That's 12/1.
That's what I thought.
It's a common
This is
effective
December
date
1.
for the whole ICRMP program.
Okay, so I'll definitely have this on the agenda, next week's agenda, for asking for approval on that then, too, okay?
Thank you.
All right, and then, all right, so that was the ones I wanted to go out of line with. We'll go back to our committee reports. First, I'd like to start with, on your agendas in front of you this evening, was under the mayor's report, was a request to approve advertising a RFP. That's a request for proposal for scavenger services for the Village of Alsip, commencing January 1st, 2027 through December 31st of 2031. Again, this is one of the larger contracts next to insurances that we pay is for garbage removal. And I did put together in everyone's packet a copy of that RFP that I drafted. I had our legal department look at it, and Roger Early and I, our building commissioner, looked at it to make sure we had the right number of containers and so forth that are going to be advertised. You know, one thing I put in here too, and this is kind of, if I didn't say it better at a recent meeting, I'll just reiterate it now, is that this contract, let me get this up here. How about you? My computer's real touchy. You can't just skim like you'd like to, like you think. Give me 1 second here. Sorry. We have a clause in our current garbage contract right now that allows for a renewal if should we decide to ask for such, or we can get a renewal for up to 3 years. And part of that renewal right now, what I mentioned at the board at the last meeting, was that we're looking at an increase of 65 cents to 69 cents per year, and the increase on the e-waste component was only like 4%, so it was like maybe a nickel a year yet to increase that. As the board brought to my attention at the last meeting, yes, we could look at scrapping all of the bids that come in and go back to the agreed extension. However, it's still both parties have to agree to that. You can't just say, we're going to scrap it and take the other deal because it was better. They've got until September of 2026 to agree with us. If they submit, I just want the board to understand, if they submit a higher number, and they were still lower next to anybody else that came in, we could be compelled to accept that higher number and not the 65 to 69% cent increases, rather, on that. So it could be a challenge. I'm not saying it's a gimme, because this is still, it has to be mutually agreed upon. That's how the language said, and our attorney reminded me of that as well, too. So.
Also do an RFQ instead of the RFP.
But I don't know what that would resolve.
Not compelled. So if you do the RFP, whoever the lowest bidder is, if they're qualified.
Right.
Lowest qualified, you have to do that. The RFQ, it's still up to you.
Yeah. I don't know if we would draw pricing from the RFQ, though. That's what I'm worried about, because we'd have to project numbers and everything else in, too. So it's something, the board, I want you to consider. We're not voting on it this evening, but just something to consider. If we think we're comfortable with the 65, 67, and 69 cent increases per year, or do we go to market and possibly incur more? That's always the gamut that you run and stuff yet, too. Because, again, if our current contractor came in at the lowest, we'd be compelled to take that number, and they wouldn't be compelled to agree to scrap whatever they gave us, because they could be $1 higher instead of 65 cents higher, and we didn't accomplish what we tried.
But at the same time, though, since you just said it's a mutual agreement on that extension, we could get to September and then them come back and say, no, we want to increase the price, and now we're kind of left holding the bag because we didn't go out to bid.
Well, no, they can increase the price. Well, two things to keep in mind, and this is part of the reason why you don't get a lot of bidders all the time yet, too. When it comes to garbage contracts, that's why I'm doing this a year in advance. Whoever wins that contract has to make, like, we've got 5,200 homes here, and it's like each house is about 3 cans. So you need over 15,000 garbage cans to facilitate this particular contract. Most companies don't have 15,000 cans sitting around ready for distribution. So it's usually the incumbent that will win that contract every time. That's why I'm kind of giving this a big window. I just want everybody to understand that if they came in with the higher number and they were still the lowest price, they don't have to agree with us to go with the extension at that point. We'd have to pay the higher price that they offered, because it has to be mutually agreed upon.
Right, but doesn't that same apply to the renewal itself? If it's a mutual agreement, it's a mutual agreement.
I'm just saying they don't have to agree to it. That's my
Right, and
point.
that's what I'm saying, though, come September of next year.
Yeah.
If we don't go out to bid right now, come September of next year, couldn't they just as easily say, nope, we're not agreeing?
Oh, sure, but also
Because we want more money.
But I'm saying, but you're not going to get a lot of responses, because a lot of companies. I've spoke to a lot of garbage companies 4 or 5 years ago when we got this contract. 4 years ago, I should say, because this is a 5-year contract, and they all said, "Thank you for letting us know." And I'm not going to say which companies it was, but the window on this is too small, and I can't get 15,000 garbage cans for you in that short.
Wait, and
of a
that's
window.
my point of saying why we should go ahead and do this right now, because again, if we wait till September and the current provider says, no, we need an increase, we're not going to mutually extend our side of the agreement, then we're, basically held up at gunpoint at that point,
I agree.
because we can't.
I
it's
agree,
too
but
late to go out to
that's
bid.
why I want everybody to evaluate before we vote on this, that's all. Secondly, on my report this evening was a presentation by our village finance consultant, Chris Marabelli, regarding our 2025 village tax levy of 4.9%. Chris, go ahead.
Hello, all. So what I gave all of, this should have been in the board packet, was this Excel spreadsheet that broke down what your guys' previous levy was compared to what it is now, or what we're projecting. If not, I do have copies.
So, thanks, Chris, if you can share that with everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So what your guys' levy for 2024 year, which is before we talk any change in the levy, you guys had a levy of about 16.3 million. Now, the way Cook County works with their tax levy is whatever your previous tax levy was, that is your starting point for next year. So you guys start at 16.3 million. Now, you guys are doing a 1.9% increase with a 3% loss in cost. What loss in cost is, that is designed to take into consideration the percentage of your population that won't pay their property taxes. So you guys are doing 1.9% increase on the base and then expecting about 3% of your population not to pay, which is how you guys get to a total levy of about 17.1 million. Now, that 17.1 million is split between your guys' corporate, which is used to pay for your police department, fire department, street department, all of those standard municipal services. And then you guys have about 14.3 million that is going to your guys' pension fund to fund the police department at the recommended contribution of about 100%. And then 2.7 million that is for your fire pension to fund that at 100% of the pension liability each year. Does that part all make sense? Now, that effectively, based on your guys' current EAV within town, as of the most recent available information from Cook County, your guys' current EAV is about 838 million. That's an effective tax rate from the village perspective, about 2%. So the second page that I distributed is what that would equate from a tax bill. So the 2023 tax bills, which are the most recent available, a property value of about $210,000 would have an assessed value of about $21,000. So 2023 tax bills, everyone within the overall tax rate within town was about 10.98%. The village's portion of that was about 1.8. So estimating what the 2024 tax bill village rate is going to be, that's about 1.9, which means that your guys' portion of a tax bill on that same value of property is about $1,200. When you take into account the residential homeowners exemption, that's about $1,057 in the village portion of the tax bill. So now, applying all of that information to 2025 tax levy, we are estimating that you guys are going to have, your guys' portion is going to be $1,300 with a residential exemption of about $1,100. Now, I do know that you guys are expecting at least a $2 million EAV increase before we talk about any new development or any property changes that, from attending tonight, you guys have quite a bit of development coming in town. Before we talk any of that, I expect at least a $2 million increase because Cook County has already shown that that's going to be it for your 2024 tax bills.
And what Chris is saying, with the $2 million EAV, that's your estimated valuation assessment. In other words, you're saying our village, the homes and everything else, were worth $2 million more than they were the year before.
Yes.
Right.
So I project at the bare minimum, without any investment in 2025 that will be reflected, you guys are going to already be at $838 million as total EAV value in town.
You're saying everything in this village is worth $838 million?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just looking at this right now, total EAV. The village levy, go ahead, Chris, I don't want to cut you off.
The village levy that we're projecting is $17 million, which equates to a 2% of overall EAV. Now, the village only controls itself. It does not have any impact on all the other taxing bodies. Your guys' proportionate amount is the lower portion. Your bigger portion of what the tax bill is usually your school districts. So based on 23, your school districts equate about 7.4% of the total tax bill. Your guys' portion was about 1.8.
And what are we of the total dollar? We used to be just short of 18% of the dollar, right?
Yeah. Of the tax bill, your guys are about 18% of the tax bill when you take what it is over for a standard homeowner.
So I always like to kind of break this out, like a standard homeowner tax bill. Let's say I would use even my own for this example. I think mine's at about $6,500 a year for taxes. But if I had a $6,500 tax bill times, let's say, 18%, to the village was $1,170 a year. By increasing that by 4.95%, right?
It's about $5 a month.
So times 4.95% is about $58 a year. So divided by 12, as you said, $4.83 more a year is what that increase would be, is just under $5, just short of $5 a month.
Yes.
Okay, is what the increase is.
I pay more for that for lunch.
Well, no one wants to pay more. I know my taxes in the last 2 years, like everybody else's, they've gone up probably $2,000 in the last couple of years. You know, and it's not necessarily a dead number of any particular taxing body, but after the homes were all reassessed with the triennial assessment, all of our homes are worth more money, and therefore the county says you're paying 10% of that EAV, of the valuation yet too, which is why, you know, everyone's home, they went up anywhere from 30 to 50%, kind of where it used to be and stuff then too. It's crazy. So basically, Chris, what you're telling everybody then is it's going to be a 4.95% increase, and as I did short math here, it's an increase of about $5 a month.
Yes.
To the village is what folks are looking at.
And that is just the $5 is just basically the village portion. When you take into the homeowner's exemption, it's actually about $4.20.
Right. So, and again, only thing this payment, well, what this payment does is it covers our obligations for our police pension, fire pension, and obviously
your salaries for your police, fire,
here.
public works, the overtime, those types of items.
And obviously the operations of the village. And this is this is how we collect property taxes to offset those costs. Right. And we're doing it less than 5%. So we don't. It doesn't require a public hearing or anything like that, because the state says anything under 5% you can do that.
Correct. Under truth and taxation law, you're only required to do a public hearing if you guys go to over 5, but you guys are staying under the 5%, so as such, you are not required to do a truth and taxation hearing.
Right. Trustees, any questions for Mr. Mirabelli? Chris, thank you very much, and I appreciate your help. Hey, if you could, real quick, if you can just share with the board, can you give them a status or an update on our audit? How's the audit going?
So we are working through quite a few of the requests. Now, your guys' auditors, since this is their first year, they're trying to get an understanding of everything that you guys do as a local government. And just based on their requests and going through what you guys do as a local government, there's a lot that they are trying to get their understanding of. So they're working through your requests. We went from, the original request had about 30, then based on their current testing, it's gone up to about 60. We're down to about 40 open requests that still need to be answered. Most of those are related to the subsequent supporting documentation that they're asking from their initial requests of their testing.
And
So
is
Chris
that related to the first audit?
Yes.
Yes.
Or in total? Okay.
So, no, and you gave me a ballpark, Chris. We're hoping late January, maybe February, we should have this wrapped up.
Yes, that is the goal.
Okay. For this first one.
For this first one.
Very good.
But once we get the first one done, they'll have a lot of they'll understand your guys' process, so the subsequent one should be easier to go through.
Very good. Chris, thanks. And I see Chris all the time, and your team's doing a great job. Thank you, Chris. And that's all I have for my report this evening. We'll go to Clerk Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the presentation of the October 2025 FOIA report. There were 95 FOIAs this month, or last month. And I have the presentation of the November 3rd, 2025 board meeting minutes. And that was all I had, Mayor.
Again, I know we lost some of our students here, but for the benefit of the public, a FOIA is your Freedom of Information Act, so that's where folks can send in, ask any question they want, and for the most part, we fill those answers. So the clerk was tasked with answering 95 requests for information this past month. We don't need an attorney this evening, and our engineer had another obligation. Andy, did you get anything from our engineer this evening? Okay. I know he had just called in, he was certainly concerned with the bid openings this evening, so we'll get those back over to him and stuff too. Public forum, anyone in the audience wish to address the board tonight? Nobody? All right, we'll go to our standing committee reports. We'll start with Finance and IT. Trustee McLaurin.
Thank you, Mayor. I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next is the Fire Committee report. Committee? I'm not sure who's on that.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
I'll take that. Chief Stasinski will provide an overview of the bids received for a new pump engine and provide a recommendation for purchase of the new engine based on these bids.
Hi, thank you, trustees. So this week I sent out what our specs were, the two that we received from both Seagrave and Rosenbauer on the comparisons. The Seagrave, they bid it out at $1,073,632. Rosenbauer was $1,103,832. Rosenbauer had two areas that they did not meet, which is very important to us. One is the access stores between the front and the rear door of the cab. That's where we store the SCBA unit for the driver. And on the other side is the monitoring equipment, plus where our charging system is to get to. The other thing that it did not address is our engine requires a foam system. We have a 40-gallon onboard foam system and an injection-type system. Rosenbauer identified the injection-type system, but on the valving they specified non-foam and did not indicate how they would be able to move foam from the foam system to the discharge valves, which is usually by a manifold. So that means if Rosenbauer guy, we'd have to go back to them, and then they'd have to develop that, and that's going to add cost to the vehicle itself. Those are the major ones. I don't know if anybody had any questions, if you had a chance to look through any of the comparisons. One of the things I was asked to make this more of a generic spec, and I did not specify stainless steel this time. I let it up to the manufacturer to determine what their materials were. Seagrave uses corrosion resistance. It's called 312, so it's a combination of galvanneal and stainless, so it's what our vehicles are tending to at now. Rosenbauer uses aluminum. We know how aluminum goes in our area, especially with the cold snow, ice, salt, and everything else over a period of time. So we know by fact from our current fleet that our Seagraves do last much longer than most of the other vehicles out there, just because of the type of materials that are used in this construction. It's about 42 months out to build a new engine. This is going to be replacing our 2006 engine, which will be 20 years next year. So by the time the next one is built, it'll be about 23 years old, which is very close to this last one we built. The more we wait, the more it goes up. Again, we're waiting 42 months at this time. We should move forward with it and order the next engine. So again, it's ready in the next couple of years to replace our 2006 one. My recommendation is to use Seagrave. Seagrave did meet the spec more than Rosenbauer did, and it is slightly cheaper. Not a whole lot, but slightly cheaper. So, any questions at all?
So again, just for everything you just said, Chief, so what we want, with the intent here is to replace a 2006 model Seagrave pumper fire truck.
Correct.
The new pricing on this, I know we just bought one 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago.
3.5 years ago is when we ordered it.
No, but I'm saying the one we just took delivery of.
Yeah, that was about a 3-year wait for a new engine.
I know, but
Yeah.
when did we get it?
November last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We just got that, but we paid over $850,000
Correct.
for it. This new one is going to be $1 million.
Correct.
So it's $1 million for a pumper truck to replace the 2006, and obviously it's going to be about 20. Right now it's 19 years old, but it's going to be 23 years old
right.
by the time we get rid of it.
Correct.
Because it's going to take 3.5 years to build this truck.
Yes.
Now, I did, one of the trustees asked me, and I did ask the chief about this, as opposed to, and just so everybody hears the same conversation, a couple of years ago, we bought an F-550 rescue squad. And Chief, I had asked you, what about buying, that was about $250,000. So instead of spending $1 million, we went to $250,000. Why is it that we can't buy
We need to keep one engine in service all the time. We can't run 2 squads out at the same time because we have no engine available. So we need to keep an engine available. That's why we only have 1 squad.
Yeah.
Plus, with our ISO rating, we need to have, number one, if an engine goes out, we need to have a reserve engine replace that engine. The squad only goes out on EMS calls, auto accidents, and brush fires. That's it. It doesn't go on fire alarms, any type of structure fire. So we have to have that availability all the time. And if we lose an engine due to maintenance, like we have our one engine's going in tomorrow for its yearly maintenance, we have to replace that engine. We have to have an engine available.
How many fire engines, how many pumper trucks do we have right now? 3, right?
3. We have 2 frontline and then a reserve.
And we just got a new tower ladder truck. Is that active yet, Chief?
No, probably around the 1st of December, still working on the training part of it.
Okay.
It's a long process.
Right. Trustees, any questions for Chief Szynski?
The ladder truck was Rosenbauer?
Yes.
Yes, that was a program truck.
So one of the disqualifications was Rosenbauer uses aluminum.
Correct.
In their manufacturer.
Correct.
Yet we allowed that to happen on a ladder truck?
We had to buy an emergency purchase, and it was them and Sutphin. Sutphin uses aluminum also. The only one that uses stainless for everything is Seagrave. But for a Seagrave mid-mount, you would have paid almost $3 million for their mid-mount.
And then Seagrave, you're recommending that we purchase it now because the price is right and because it's a 3-year delay in delivery.
Correct.
Yet the last one that we ordered from Seagrave, we had a contract. It didn't mean diddly to them because they increased the price and they delayed it by another year.
Every manufacturer did the same thing. They're still falling back from COVID. Everybody's done the same thing. It's not new to anybody.
I'm still appalled at the idea that a contract isn't a contract.
Well, in both the contracts, if I'll send you the contracts, both of them state that if tariffs kick in, we're responsible for the tariff differences.
And the other aspect of this is that we're going to commit to the purchase of $1 million vehicle when we haven't even looked at budgets yet.
It's 4 years down the road.
Yeah, but it's there, as it was specified in the bids, it's prepayment.
it's prepayment.
That's an option. That's an option. So in prepayment, you'd say $170,000 in both contracts if you prepay it.
When I read the Seagrave, it said it was payable at contract.
For prepayment, it's $172,000 discount for prepayment.
Okay.
At the time of delivery, it would be, if we wait all the way to delivery, it'd be $1,073,000 and whatever the change was.
So, thanks for clarifying that too, Chief. I forgot about that. So if we prepay, we'll save $172,000 on this purchase.
It means at the time or near the time of the contract. It doesn't make sense to do that now. We don't have the funding for that. So in 4 years, hopefully our audits are all straightened out and we can go for financing in 4 years or 42 months or whatever to be able to pay for that.
Could be, but I will look and see if we can afford this because $172,000 is a lot of savings.
Oh, absolutely it is. If you want to prepay it now, that's great. It's even better. That's huge.
And there's no way they can touch it once we prepaid it. They can't raise my price.
No, you just paid for the whole thing.
I understand, but that's what I'm saying. By us, but by them allowing us to pay full price, they can go even further with that contract and adjust the price on us at the meantime, too. That's what the trustee was just pointing out.
So if you prepay it, you pay for it in advance. They can't go after you for anything else. The last engine, we did not prepay. We didn't start paying until after it started being built.
Right.
And that's the way the contract read.
Yeah, because, again, the public, everybody doesn't really understand. When we ordered the last truck, they raised us almost $100,000 right before we received the truck, and we had to pay a difference. And they made some small concessions to us, to maintenance or something like that, too.
Right.
So.
And unfortunately, every manufacturer had to do the same thing because they're suppliers.
It was actually $150,000. I remember they let us break it up over 3 years or something like that, too. Okay. Next, you had Chief, go ahead, Trustee Love, you had number 2 on there, too?
Yes. Number 2, Chief Szynski, to continue the discussion of the purchase of new cardiac with additional information.
Correct. So our last meeting that we brought up, the mayor asked me to kind of review what we did the last time we did this with the monitor. So I went all the way back to 2018. On July 30th, 2018 was a committee meeting, and then on August 6th of 2018 was the board meeting where it was voted and approved with. So during the committee meeting, I listened to the audio portion of it. Some of the things that came out of there, because the question was asked about the bidding also. The attorney stated that since we are a home rule, that we didn't have to use the bidding process. but many of the trustees felt we should go with the bidding process also. But we also spent 3 years going through these monitors or trying to replace the monitors at the same time. Trustee Dizelle, during that meeting, brought up about being sole source, and so it's not like you can go out and quote the same thing. They're regional. The monitors themselves, so you base off the regional itself. You can't just go out and get 3 different quotes for Zoll, because Zoll's only going to sell by the region, and that's it. Speaking to Kyle, our salesman, so they did a presentation for Region 7 EMS, which is a region we belong to. And you also got to keep in mind that we're also abide by a couple different standards for what we do out there. Number one is the EMS system that we participate in, which is Region 7, which is mostly the south suburbs, and then also through IDPH, where we get our inspections from also. So again, we have to meet a couple different standards. One of the advantages of the Zoll that some of the other manufacturers don't have is, number one, is our CPR feedback. I talked about that with the last monitors. I know Kyle talked about it with these new monitors as well. Patients have almost an 8-time more success of survival rate with CPR feedback, because we can watch, number one, if we have to do manual CPR, we can watch what the feedback is, but also with the auto pulses, all the pulses also report to the monitor. Well, we looked at the 2 different types of CPR devices between the Zoll Auto Pulse and the Stryker Lucas system. We field tested each one for about 3 months. We had several full arrests for each one of them as well. And after it was said and done, the majority of our members picked the Auto Pulse over the Lucas for a lot of different reasons. It has to deal with survivor. Number one is the Lucas system uses a plunger for the chest, where the Zoll uses a band, so you get more of the chest area to do better compressions than just that as well. You can also move the patient in a sitting up position while the machine is still doing CPR, which you can't do on the Auto Pulse. Well, also with the Zoll monitors, it also shows that 28% of the compressions are American Heart Association compliant on patients, so you have a better rate or a better possibility of patient survival from a cardiac arrest just because of that rate as well. The monitors also have what they call capnography, which means that we can monitor how much carbon dioxide and how much oxygen is going into the patient and how much the patient is using during cardiac arrests. Most of the time, we have a habit of hyperventilating the patients instead of having a balance. So with the capnography, we can actually get a better balance on it and also control the amount of oxygen flow as well for a better outcome. The last part is real-time traumatic brain injury management. So Region 7 has a very specific protocol for traumatic brain injury that is impossible to manage without trending feedback, which the Zoll monitors also be able to do. So Zoll provided the 2 price. One was originally for the 10-year lease, which would have equipment. It's about $64,000 a year, and I know a lot of you weren't in favor of it. And then most recently they came back and said, well, you can have an option is new equipment paid over 5 years at 0% interest, and it is yours, which means you have it for about 3 years. You have to look at replacing monitors again, and then usually a trade-in value with it as well. Regardless, is we have to look at replacing monitors next year. Next year is the year we have to do that. And like anything else, the longer you wait, the more it goes up. So it's 2 different options to be able to do that. What they offered with the option of the 5-year purchase is we take delivery of the newest monitors now, or whenever they're available. They are available now. I don't know what the lead time is. And then we would not have to pay until after our next budget year kicks in. And then it's the same payment of $59,000 and change each year for 5 years for a total of $295,000 and change. So that would be the most updated monitor, the one that just came out. It would also be the most updated auto pulse. So on the auto pulse itself, the couple of things have changed. Let's see if I can find it on my notes. So the things that have changed on the newer auto pulse is now that we have accepts an extra 100 pounds of patient weight. So now we can go up to 400 pounds on a patient. 4 extra inches of chest compressions because of the chest circumference. So that's one of the things that's much different from the Zoll to the auto pulse is we can get it on larger patients, and we have a lot of larger people that live in our village, so it's huge. Now we have the option of being able to use it. Plus we can use it on traumatic arrest just because it uses a band instead of a plunger for delivering CPR itself. Also provides near normal pre-arrest blood flow. Again, while you're doing compressions, it allows the blood to move freely and where it should be, not just concentrated. So, again, a lot of options to that. So you have 2 different options. I know we talked about going out to bid before, and you always want to bid apples to apples. Well, the 2 different devices between Zoll and Stryker are not apples to apples because of those differences. So, questions at all?
Chief, I got it understood. So basically, I'm going to take a look at obviously our budget to see what the budget can sustain. Obviously, we've got, if we prepay for the fire truck as opposed to 1.1 million, I mean, I could be looking at maybe $875,000 if I prepay for something like that. But also $295,000 worth of monitors, that's $60,000 a year for the next 5 years, you're saying?
Correct.
Right?
Yep, 0% interest, so we're using their money.
Right. And how long are those units good for?
At least 7 years.
Okay.
You can squeeze 8 out of it, but 7's more ideal.
All right. Trustees, any other questions for Chief Stasinski? All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
We'll move on with our, finish up our reports. We'll go to the Police and Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell.
Presenting a request for the approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Traffic Motor Vehicles, Article 8, Seizure and Impoundment of the Motor Vehicle, Section 19-135, definitions in Section 19-136, motor vehicles subject to seizure and impoundment of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. It appears that we've gone from 9 definition or violations to 11 and modified some of the verbiage.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mayor.
So, if you would, Trustee, I'm not, or maybe Lieutenant Emick, maybe somebody give us just kind of so everybody understands what are we doing with this one? Lieutenant?
Just updating the law and the verbiage.
Okay, so like you said, if you would, I didn't understand it real good either. I'm just saying for everybody else. What are we updating is what I'm asking. It's from 9 to 11 seizures?
But what are the 2 additions? Or
The violations. So the original violations were possession of property of a controlled substance, cannabis or drug paraphernalia, driving under the influence, driving while licensed, permit or privileged to operate a motor vehicle, suspended or revoked, operation of motor vehicle without a valid driver's license, the unlawful use of weapons, sex offenses, no insurance, fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, and any offense that constitutes a felony, which is current. And then proposed is the addition of aggravated speeding, and then unless otherwise authorized by state law, possession or delivery of a controlled substance or drug paraphernalia, drag racing, driving under the influence, driving while license, permit, or privilege to operate a motor vehicle is suspended or revoked, driving while without insurance while or during the commission of a separate criminal offense, driving during or after the commission of a felony, fleeing or attempting to elude a peace officer, illegal transportation of open alcohol, operation of a motor vehicle without a driver's license, and the final is reckless driving.
Thank you very much. So that's the reasons for having your car impounded, and that's what we're doing, we're updating that language. Thank you very much. Anything else, Trustee?
Thank you, no.
Okay. We'll go to Public Work and Boat Launch Committee.
Trustee McLaughlin or Murphy?
I'll take it. We have a presentation of the Public Works Department October 2025 monthly activity report, and that's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Sewer and Water, Trustee Love.
I also have the presentation of the Water Department October 2025 monthly activity report, and that's all I have this evening.
All right, thank you. Building and Health, Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the presentation of the October 2025 Building Department Monthly Activity Report, and that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Trustee Murphy, anything else under Human Resource and Insurance?
No, sir, that's all.
Okay. Special committee reports, we'll go to Economic Development. Trustee Love.
Thank you, Mayor. The Village of Alsip welcomes the following new business, Kiswani Nuts Incorporated. Wish you much success. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Next, Village Properties, Trustee McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. In the packet for everybody, I have both the September 2025 and the October 2025 Heritage Monthly Activity Reports. Under October, since that's the most recent, currently at Heritage 1 we have 3 apartments available for rent, and at Heritage 2 we have 4. Between the 2 complexes we have 11 that are currently being rehabbed. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And again, for the benefit of the public, you heard the word heritage used a lot tonight. The Village of Alsip owns 2 55 and older apartment complexes. We've got 29 buildings there with 512 apartments. They're in great condition and maintained very well with SEIU maintenance staff available there. So next, we had the Ordinance Legislation Committee. Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. No agenda this evening.
All right, thank you. Trustee Murphy, anything else under Plan, Zoning, and Licenses?
Yes, sir. Number 3, we have a presentation of a list of licenses in review dated October 27th, 2025 through November 7th, 2025, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody have any presentations, petitions, or communications they want to share? I had one. Please join us tomorrow for Veterans Day if you're available. Veterans Day is always commemorated on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. So we will be at Veterans Plaza tomorrow at 118th and Pulaski at 11 a.m. for a short commemoration. Anyone is welcome to attend, and a lot of times the VFW Post 450 over at 118th and Cicero will be in attendance as well too. Anybody have any unfinished business? Any new business they want to talk about?
I do, Mayor. I was approached by a couple residents in regards to a possible safety issue. The new TBK on Pulaski, there is a driveway there for Pulaski, but it doesn't actually get into the establishment. It's blocked off by I believe some rocks and.
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Roger, knew anything about that? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so you can't access it. It's pretty much just there with the sidewalk, and that's it.
Can you take a look at that, Raj, tomorrow? Okay.
And I went past it, and in the daylight, no problem. In the evening, it is hard to discern. I can see somebody trying to turn into that, yes. And,
Okay.
And so if we can take a look at that, please. Yeah, the new location, correct.
All right, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
This time I'll get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I want to thank everybody that hung in there with us tonight. The time now is 9:09. Students, if you need your agenda signed, please come on up. Anybody here can sign it for you and stuff then too. Enjoy the rest of your night.
We'll take pictures too if you need them.